Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast. My name is Nazar Sayed, and with me, finally, is my co-host Bashar Sayed, back from Jeddah, back from the IPL auction, back from literally praying for India to win the first game. Bashar Sayed, welcome back.
Great to be back, guys. It's correct. I was in Jeddah. I was in the Middle East, the deserts of Arabia. And I've come back as a bald man, as a tribute, some would say, to Sajid Khan,
Yes.
Nathan Lyon. Some of the greatest off spinners have been bald people.
Yeah,
Who is the greatest bald cricketer of all time? I have an answer.
Harshal Gibbs.
Sure, it's close. He's a good ball player.
I think who else would be?
Jaiswal.
Oh my God, yeah, that's probably it.
He was good.
That's probably the take. Yeah,
He was
Jaiswal
good.
is the take.
When the wind hits your scalp,
Yeah,
it works differently.
you should tell me. You should talk about that more.
I will. Separate podcast on that.
All right. You've been gone for a couple of weeks. You were there in Jeddah while the IPL auction was happening. Any thoughts, feelings? How was the city feeling? Were people aware of what was going on?
The fact that I was in Jeddah for the exact days that the IPL auction was happening, and I had no recollection or knowledge of the IPL auction happening in Jeddah, my mind could not even go that the IPL auction would be happening in Jeddah, of all the places.
Yeah. I think it was more, well, it's twofold thing. I think they want to expand the game to the Saudis and the Arabs. That's one fraction of the world that the ICC really hasn't broken into. They've gotten to the Emiratis, but not really the Saudis. And that's something that they want to break into. So maybe doing that in Jeddah, A, is a good option. And then B, I don't think it was really for the Jeddans or the Saudis there. It was more just a neutral place where they could do this.
You think there's a scenario in the future where, similar to football / soccer, if you're in North America, that the Saudis will have their own cricket league?
I mean, isn't that...
And at the twilight of Virat Kohli's career,
Mhm.
they give him a shit ton of money to leave the IPL, to leave the Indian team, to go play and be the ambassador of the Saudi league, similar to how Ronaldo is in the Saudi league.
I mean, there are talks already. I don't know how serious the Saudis are about quote unquote buying cricket, but it would be a breath of fresh air, definitely in the community. There are already talks if that happens, and if they'll be able to break the sort of the camaraderie that the big three have, and how that shapes up in a future where the Saudis own cricket. That's a whole other debate. I know Usman Samiuddin talked about it very briefly on one of his podcasts a few months ago as well. But it's an interesting prospect, definitely. Having the Emiratis wanted to come in and do the same thing. They had the Sharjah Cup for a very long time, and they had other tournaments being played.
ILT20.
The ILT20, arguably the second or third biggest league in the world right now, just in scope of the amount of money that they're giving to players. So it is a market worth exploring. I don't know if we're there yet initially. It's still very early days for any of these guys and early talks for the ICC to get the Saudis involved.
Well, on record, before we get into the podcast, I wanted to commend you for doing 2 solo podcasts.
People didn't like it. People missed you. I got a lot of backlash for doing
Yeah.
solo pods, man.
The views in the last episode definitely say people miss me.
Yeah. No, I mean, after India won, that episode kind of got a little bit of a life again. I think it crossed like 3,000 to 4,000 at this point. The BGT is here episode. You guys definitely check it out. Come on, give me some love, guys.
If you ever think that doing a podcast solo is easy, I challenge you guys, pick up a mic, turn a camera on, and speak into it for 30 to 40 minutes, and you'll understand. Oh, by the way, in one take, all of our podcasts
One take, yeah.
we've ever done, one take.
No edits. It was the toughest part of the solo pods were the amount of research I had to do on my own. And usually I rely on you to give me the stats, and then you can back me up, or you can be like, hey, that's right, or that's not right. For this part, I had to be like 100% correct because there's nobody else I was bouncing off of. That was tough to make sure I'm reading my notes correctly, and then also looking at the camera and talking to everybody, not breaking momentum. It was a high octane match, and I don't think a lot of people give me my due diligence on that. So it's okay.
There's also
it's a tough
a
world.
clip circulating of you talking about the BGT being shoved down our throats.
Yeah.
I think that whole clip is being taken out of context. People don't really understand what you were trying to get at.
Yeah.
And sadly, because you're from a Pakistani background, it's always painted that, oh, this Pakistani is butthurt or he's salty on India's success?
That's never upset me. I don't know about you. I actually was genuinely happy that India were able to come back in this first test match. And I think this is a good segue into the conversation we're having today, which is India beat Australia in the first test match of this year's BGT. Not only that, they were sort of written off right after first innings because 150 all out was abysmal. And it felt like none of their top orders was clicking and everybody was writing them off, including me. I tweeted quite critically of them of being complacent, of being outdated, and with Rohit Sharma back in the team, of them just being old. And not only was I proven wrong, but a lot of other naysayers were proven wrong when the third innings happened, and then just Jaiswal and Kohli, the way that they built that innings up. But that's what I'm saying. I was happy. I was happy as a neutral slash Pakistani slash Canadian fan to be like, hey, I'm really glad that this team who people were sort of riding as the underdogs came out and pulled a win in Australia. And people just did not see that.
I look at it as a fellow subcontinent team going out there in Australia,
Sure.
climbing that peak. I think for India, they've done it before, so it's nothing new. But I missed I'm presuming the meltdown on the Indian media after day one, after India got bowled over 150. Were you following that? How was Sports Yari reacting?
Sports Yari, Sports Tuck, or Raj Tuck, whatever those guys are, everybody was having a meltdown. There were people coming out of the woodwork with their own agendas. And that's when I realized that the difference between Indian cricket and Pakistan cricket, media-wise, it's not different. Like when Pakistan, the entire 2023 to 2024 run, the meltdown on Pakistan cricket Twitter was just insane. Like it was every single day. And there was no solace for the fans. You would have 7 different theories circulating, all like, having their own merits and proofs and all that. People violating players' privacies. Everything was on the board right now.
Below the bell attacks.
The way that Shaheen Shafidi got maligned after he got married, and the way that Babar Azam got maligned, his personal life being like literally ejected out into the world, was similar to what was happening to Virat Kohli, and people blaming him to moving to London with his wife, and that's why he's not like crazy ass theories just to justify this one mishap on day one. And honestly, it wasn't even the entirety of day one. It was just when they got bowled out for 150, but then they came back and took 7 wickets on that day. 17 wickets fell on day one, Vishal. I don't know if you noticed that, but that was an insane bowling effort. Bumrah just came out and made sure that everybody knew he still is the rightful swing king in the world right now, not just in Asia, but in the world. He is the player to have in your team. And he was also leading from the front. He was captain. And honestly, I haven't felt so invigorated in a test match in a very long time. I was genuinely staying up till 2 to 3 a.m. just trying to finish off the sessions because everything was so exciting and so heightened. That's what I noticed in the Australia versus India tests. Everything is like on 11. It's fans' reactions, players' reactions, the little scrimmages happening between the players. It was just a wonderful feat, and I genuinely had a great time.
Before we get into like a more deeper into the conversation, just wanted to say that Yashi Sports, Canada's home of cricket, they're having an incredible Black Friday sale going on. They're giving 20% off on all cricket bats, in addition to all 20% off on DSC cricket shoes.
Yes.
I think it's a great deal. Black Friday, this is the time to be shopping your bats, your shoes. And if that wasn't good enough, you can still use the code BP10 for an additional 10% off your purchase.
30% off.
30% off.
That's insane. I ran this ad last time as well, and I think it's a wonderful deal that Yashi is pulling through. If you guys are listening in, it's not the 30th of November yet. Go to Yashi's website, book your bats, order them in. 30% off of retail bats. Insane.
YashiSports.com. They've got you covered, and it's free shipping on orders over $350.
Yeah, and if you buy 2 solid bats, free shipping.
Get some shoes in there too.
Get them shoes in there. DSC. Go ahead.
Yeah, so coming into the test match, I don't think anybody gave India a chance because they were coming off of a 3-0 whitewash at home from New Zealand. And on top of that, Rohit Sharma was unavailable for the first test match. And then Shubman Gill gets his finger injured during catching practice, so he's unavailable. So India going in with an extremely inexperienced side. And I think I saw a stat where the Australians, their test match numbers versus the Indian team's test match numbers just pulls apart. Also considering India went without Ashwin or Jadeja. I thought that was a bold move. Them going with Washington Sundar over Ashwin, and then just no other specialist spinner in there.
I have a question. How much input does Bumrah have in team selection as captain?
That's a good question. Technically, he was the vice captain, but then now he's running the show. I do think there is a combination of consultancy. I would assume, I don't know any valid information. This is my presumption that he's working with the coach, Gautam Gambhir, is working with captain Rohit Sharma, and they're making a agreeable decision based on their discussions.
Of course, I just asked the question because we're so inundated with changing chief selection committees in Pakistan that I was just wondering, how does the Indian selection work? Does the captain have to say, even if it's a temporary captain like our boy Bumrah here? But
Who was the last fast bowling captain India had?
that's a very good question. I'm trying to think
Kapil
about
Dev?
that. Was that the last fast bowling captain they had? Yeah, because India's one of those very few teams that has eras with their captains. You have the Ganguly era, you have the Dhoni era, you have the Kohli era, the Sharma era. Hardik Pandya, I don't know if you want to call him a fast bowling captain. He did captain a few T20Is, as I remember it.
I think he's branched out to be. He's more of a batting all-rounder now.
Batting all rounder. Then
Also, he's not really captain anymore because
Yeah.
Sky is captain.
yeah, pure fast bowling all rounder has to be Kapil Dev. I think. I don't think of anybody else coming in. I can look that up if you want.
Yeah. No, I think let's just keep moving. I think it's a good move though, to trust a fast bowling captain. It's two fast bowlers who are captains against each other, Pat Cummins and Bumrah. And clearly, Bumrah outsmarted Pat Cummins. What was shocking for me actually was India choosing to bat first after winning the toss. And I think that just showed that they were going in with the winning mindset, because all the 4 test matches before this one, the teams batting first have won here at the Optus Stadium in Perth. And lo and behold, India wins it. And they breached GABA in the past series, and they've now breached the Optus Stadium in Perth because Australia was undefeated here before this match, and now they're 4-1.
Ravi Shastri, is he a fast bowler?
No, he's a left arm spinner.
Yeah, and then it was definitely your boy Kapil Dev, KD, 83.
Jankuli Mankuli. If you know, you know.
You know, you know, bro. At this point, if you don't know, then what are you doing here? If you don't know Jankuli Mankuli. But yes, sorry, I totally missed the last part. What were we on about?
I was talking about India winning the toss, batting first, and then
Important toss to win.
breaking the fortress of Perth.
You know, it was crazy to see that 150 for all out was being judged so harshly when the home team came out and only scored 104, 105 or something like that. In retrospect, 150 seemed like a great feat only because of how determined Pant was. I don't know if you saw the innings or the highlights that Pant was playing. He was the only one who seemed like he was in touch. Everybody else seemed like they were. Some of them got like decent deliveries, like the one that Kohli got. Like the ball just bounced. He played a similar shot 2 or 3 balls before. The ball just bounced extraordinary. He didn't have time to react. Boom, first or second flip, he's gone. Some of them got like Jaffers like that. Others were just like throwing their wickets out. They had no idea what to do. It really seemed like the Australian bowling lineup had just overcome the Indian wall or whatever you want to call it, and it just was overwhelming them completely. But it was when Pant came out and you could see, hey, this is how you play in these soils. You wait for the ball, you play it late, you use the crease, you jump at the ball, you play on the up. And he was scoring at a high rate. And he was the reason that India were able to cross 100, then 150 and set up a respectable total. At that point, I think everybody was like, hey, India made 150. Maybe they'll get a trade, Australia will come out and score maybe 350. India will have some chance to draw this test match. But nobody had any inkling that India would come out and take 7 wickets on that day.
I actually watched Bumrah's opening spell, ball by ball, and I think there is no doubt he's the best bowler, all format, all conditions. Gun to my head and one bowler to ball in order to save my life, it's Bumrah. I think when he first came on the scene, he only had one swing. He used to bowl he had an in-swinger to the left-hander, the outswinger, and over time he has developed an in-swinger. So what he does now is he has total control of outswing, in-swing, and with how his action is, you can't really judge length because he has high reflection in his elbows. Short run up, he just comes in, walks in, balls 140 clicks. And I think ever since he's learned both swings and has mastered them, he just makes the batsman look dumbfounded. Like the ball against Steve Smith, I thought he was going for the outswinger, but if the ball pitched and nipped back in and there was a huge gap between his bat and where the ball hit his pads.
He makes batsmen look goofy when they're playing against him. They have no idea where to go, and that's just this. That's the sign of an exceptional bowler. You know, there's already been talks about him being compared to Wasim Akram, another South Asian legend.
Too early. Too early.
I agree with you that it's too early to compare Wasim Akram and Bumrah, but the way that they both make the batsmen look goofy, I don't know any other bowler that has done that. Asif had shades of that, but again, his career wasn't long enough for us to judge it to this extent. But I feel like the sample size between the two bowlers and Wasim and Bumrah are enough now at this point where you can start making comparisons like that.
I think once Bumrah has 400 test wickets, that's when they can be like, okay, how good was Bumrah and how does he compare to Wasim Akram? Okay, Wasim was clutch, yo. I'm not saying Bumrah is not clutch, but I just think the fundamental issue with this is you're comparing eras. For example, it's the same debate between Sachin versus Virat, right? Some will say Sachin faced more tougher bowlers in his era. He faced the 90s West Indies fast bowling. He faced Wasim, Makar, Imran, Shoaib. Like, it's a relentless pace bowling, the Australian attack of the 90s and early 2000s. Sachin faced that and scored tons of runs against that.
Yeah, we'll come to Virat Kohli and his achievements as well. But I totally agree with the eras debate, and I don't think there's a right answer for that. But just as a mental exercise, I feel like it's good to have that. And Bumrah is definitely earning his name and living up to that hype that he had ensured in before. So, great up to Bumrah.
His spot on the first, his bowling in the first innings, 5 for 30, economy rate of 1.7, just not giving anything away. And as Mohammad Siraj said, I am only believe in Jassi Bhai because game changer player, he is only guy Jasprit Bumrah.
Yes, 100%. The emotions and the vibes that Siraj had during that interview, it's gone viral at this point. And
that was an interview after the T20 World Cup win.
Yep. And it's like one of those things where it's gone re-viral again and people are just blowing it up, especially after this performance. Jassi Bhai, what are you going to say about that?
I even saw a clip of Siraj in the dressing room and he was saying the same thing. I only believe Jassi Bhai.
Yeah.
So he knows it's a funny
He has
thing.
one North Star. It's Jassi Bhai, man. And Jassi Bhai, every time he bowls, he bowls his heart out. He's gotten India to 2 World Cup finals, 1 World Cup victory at this point. And, he's wreaking havoc against the Australians.
Exceptional talent. I think one of the things that is extraordinary about his career is the fact that he's gone through multiple injuries, back injuries, and it is a testament to how BCCI, the Indian cricket team, and also Jasprit Bumrah himself has managed his injuries, rehab, workload, and making sure that he is back fully fit playing for India.
A lot of kudos goes to the Indian management for this, to making sure that this man is still available for play and to make sure that this rehab was sought out and seen through, another page that the Pakistan Cricket Board can take out from the Indian Cricket Board's rule book, 100%. But it's just a testament to how much they take care of their players. They saw Jasprit Bumrah as a once-in-a-generational talent, and they invested heavily on him, and now he's reaping rewards, literally reaping rewards. And he will do so for years to come because he has a long
A very, very small comparison. 2022, Shaheen, Bumrah get injured, similar time frame. Bumrah chooses to miss the 2022 T20 World Cup to elongate his career, to know that there are bigger tournaments coming up. Shaheen, on the other hand, fast tracks his rehab and forces himself back into the T20 World Cup squad in 2022. And we see that he wasn't at his best there, but he was still performing well. And he gets injured again in that same tournament while fielding. So just has not been the same bowler since.
Yeah. And that's, again, a testament to the Indian Cricket Board making sure that they see this injury through and make sure their bowler comes out.
It's also,
he is an asset.
This is what Roman Ray said to us in the Islam United podcast. He said that Bumrah can take the time off. He can miss tournaments because he has that security that whenever he gets fit, he is a pen right back into the playing 11 for the Indian team. So he has that extra motivation. He has that financial security and just that verbal security from the Indian team that you're our main bowler. Whenever you're back fit, you're coming back into the 11.
Again, it goes to show that how much meritocracy does work and flourish in that environment. And when you let it flourish, you get results like this. So kudos to them.
I think the next guy who I thought was extremely impressive was Jaiswal.
Oh my God. This is the first time I've seen a complete Jaiswal innings. I've seen snippets, I've seen highlights, but that 150 I saw live. I saw it ball by ball, the way he was dominating the bowlers, the way he was picking his shots and picking his areas, and the release that he felt when he went to his century, it meant a lot to him. You could tell, and he was making a statement century, and it felt like with Virat Kohli on the other side that he was literally the baton was being passed on to the next generation of opening batsmen and batsmen that'll lead India from the front. And it was a beautiful sight to see. There was a lot of history, a lot of legacy being transported in that moment, a lot of magic in that moment. And it was the defining innings of that game. That 150 put India in a position that they were in an unassailable position. Australia had lost that test match at that point, and we were looking for a draw, which was nearly impossible at that point.
His partnership with KL Rahul was extremely important. A partnership of 201, which is India's highest test partnership in Australia. I love a good redemption story. KL Rahul had a horrible, horrible innings in the ODI World Cup final. So for him to come back and just do as the team needs, because I think he was playing in the middle order against New Zealand, and now he's been asked to open the innings just to help the batting order in the absence of Rohit Sharma. So love to see a good redemption story. I think it will take many more innings like these, partnerships like these, for KL Rahul to fully redeem himself.
It's a move in the right direction, but he's not fully redemptive.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I think it's the move in the right direction, and fans are very harsh on him. Indian fans are extremely, extremely harsh on him for the right reasons and some for the wrong as well. But it's a movement that was very needed, and I don't think he would have survived this test series if he had, again, not shown up in this game against Australia at Perth.
Here's an interesting stat. Virat Kohli in 119 test matches has 36s across his career. Yashasvi Jaiswal just this year has 35 sixes.
That's insane.
And just this year.
That's insane.
So what I'm trying to say is that I guess he plays with a lot of freedom. He has confidence in his shots. He came down the track and he hit Nathan Lyon, the way he was battling against Australia's pace bowling trio. I rate this Australian bowling attack quite highly. I think it's been the most consistent fast bowling trio. Plus, if you add Nathan Lyon in there, their experience, their consistency, the way they challenge every batsman, I think scoring runs against them in Australia, this is the pinnacle for every single batsman. And for me, this is how I judge batters. You know, if I want to see you're a good batsman, I'm going to go up on Cricinfo. I'm going to see your stats in Australia. And to score a 150 plus score in your debut test innings here, I think it's
also in the second innings when your team was already 150 all out in the first innings. The context of this century, again, I tell you, it's a defining century. It's a century that'll put him on the map for years to come, and has solidified him as a statement, stable or opening batsman that India was longing for a very, very long time. And plus the attitude that the guy has. He's so young. He's 21. And he plays like he's 30. Like the attitude, the freedom that he has, the way he swings the bat, it's magical. It's lovely to see. And I want to give a shout out to Shayan here. Shayan plays cricket, SPC. He talked about Jaiswal back in 2022 or 23.
23.
It was a while ago, like over a year ago. He told me about Jaiswal. He's like, you got to keep an eye on this guy. He's performing. He's putting up numbers in the IPL that nobody's seen. But he's gonna be he is international material, and he's gonna be a legend once he makes that crossover. And shout out to Shan, man. You were absolutely right.
Interesting stat. Jaiswal has 400s in test matches, and he's converted all of those 400s into 150 plus scores.
That's one of the most insane stats I've heard in a very long time. And he's in company that is just the top tier, cream of the cricket crop.
So this is the joint second most by any batter before turning 23. Don Bradman tops the list with 5 scores of 150 plus before the age of 23. Also, there's also a stat where he was on par with Graeme Smith having 150 plus scores. So all of the numbers, all of the stats so far indicate that Jaiswal is on track for greatness.
Javed Miandad also had 4 150 plus scores before the age of 23. So, you know,
Don Bradman, Graeme Smith, Javed Miandad.
You know, I got to put in the Karachi agenda in there, bro. You know me. You know me. Jaiswal. There we go.
So I think he's going to be an incredible talent going forward. What I've noticed with batters in their careers is that they come on the scene, they score heaps of runs, and then there's a period where they get figured out. That's when their average drops. That's when there's criticism. That's what Martinez is going through right now. And the period after that is when they come back and they reinvent themselves. So this is the phase where Jaiswal is scoring heaps of runs. There might be a phase where he gets figured out. Who knows?
You know what's sad? KG Kamal Khan's only played 3 test matches. He's already figured out.
What?
He's figured out, bro. People, like when he was playing against Australia, they
The
knew
bouncer.
exactly the bouncer. That's it. Simple. My boy Usman Khan, 2 T20 has figured out.
Oh, Jaiswal. So when he got out, I saw his body language. I saw the way he was reacting.
Yeah.
He got caught at backward point. No pun intended.
And we were not related to that out at all. Except for the name.
We have nothing to do with that.
No
with that
coincidence
out.
except for the name. No relation.
But the way he reacted when getting out just showed that he was, despite scoring that 150 plus, he was still very annoyed with the way he got out, his dismissal, and he wanted to continue scoring runs.
And he was looking for a big 200. Honestly, that's what he was eyeing, and he was disappointed. Which just shows me that this man has the hunger. This man has the fire in his eyes. This man is looking to go out and score big runs, and that's the motivation and that's the intention that will let him succeed as he keeps playing his test matches. You know what's also a crazy stat to me? Jaiswal has never played an ODI before.
I was gonna say,
Jaiswal has never played an ODI before, and I think he might be the most perfect ODI batsman.
yeah, I think I'm not sure what India's plan is, but he can definitely come in for Rohit once he retires from ODIs.
And it's soon. It's coming. I know all my Rohit fans are like upset whenever I mention this, but Rohit is 37 years young. It's been a while, and since he's been playing cricket, he debuted before Virat Kohli, and you know he's actually in the generation before VK, which is insane to me because VK seems like he's been there for centuries as well. But someone at some day has to hand him the mantle, and he has to make that crossover into retirement, and that opens up the gates for Jaiswal to come in.
My friend was going to work in Toronto, and he sent me a picture of Rohit Sharma in Yorkville. Rohit Sharma is the brand ambassador for the Bank of Montreal here.
It's insane.
One of the big 5 banks. And there was a picture, a massive poster of Rohit Sharma.
I saw it
in downtown.
I saw it 2 nights ago. I was in downtown, and it was on Young and Dundas. When the lights change, for like 3 seconds, it was Rohit Sharma telling us that he beat us in the T20 World Cup.
Fantastic.
Every day is pain for Pakistan cricket fans.
Doesn't matter where you live, where you go.
Or it doesn't matter who you are. It's always going to come to you.
Okay. Virat Kohli, back is king.
Oh my God. I'm ready for this.
As Umar Akmal would say. I think I was talking about this in the Discord a few months back. I was like, guys, don't worry if Virat is out of form. He will come back. I think he's going to save the best that he has for this upcoming tour to Australia. He loves playing in Australia. I think if Virat Kohli could, he would just pack up the Adelaide Oval, put it in a backpack and play there every single time because he has an incredible record there. But just overall in Australia, he was one of the first guys who went to Australia, looked the Australians in the eyes, sledged them back. 2014, 2015, India tour to Australia when MS Dhoni gave the test captaincy to Virat Kohli. That's when he was sledging the Australians back, looking them in the eyes and not giving a single crap and making sure that they don't overpower them. Because in the past, when teams go to the Siena countries, they get overpowered, they get bossed around, and Australians have a history of sledging you, having mental games, and Virat changed that mindset.
Man, you know what? We were talking about crazy stats before. Babar Azam has 9 test centuries, and Virat Kohli has 7 test centuries only in Australia.
That's correct.
That's the level of excellence we're dealing with here. There is no one like Virat Kohli. I say this all the time. There is also a background debate going on right now about the Indian team not coming to the Champions Trophy, which we will discuss when things are a lot more clear. So we're not talking about it right now. But there is a debate about how much love Virat Kohli gets from Pakistan. And some people say, hey, it's just all in talks, and it's all in talks and only on Twitter. It's not really there. I'm here to testify that the love that Virat Kohli gets from Pakistan is insane. We are a Pakistan cricket leading podcast, and I have no qualms and no reservation in saying that Virat Kohli is the greatest cricketer that I've seen play the game. Beautiful game of cricket. He rejuvenates my love for it. Whenever I feel down, I watch a beautiful Virat Kohli innings, and it reminds me of everything that I love about this game. And his century here, his 7th century in Australia, at the time that he was in, his dreadful test record, everybody knows about it, averaging 20 or 25, and his average dropping, and all these things, all the noise in the periphery. We've heard about it for so long that Virat Kohli is done and dusted it. And same thing about Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma done and dusted. Get them out of the team. We need fresh blood. He comes out and makes a statement century. And this is where I also have to credit Jasprit Bumrah Bashar. He is new into the captaincy gig, but he understands the importance of an informed VK in this series.
Could have declared earlier.
He could have declared earlier. He would have still won by over 200 runs. But he made sure that he got the confidence up of Virat Kohli because the statement 100 is a statement 100. He goes out there, he makes 100. He has that confidence to go out. Maybe the second game is in Adelaide. He can already have a ground that's really favorable to Virat. He can go out there and keep scoring runs. And batting, as you know, and the game of cricket is just all momentum. Pakistan had momentum riding for them all through 2021 and 22 and halfway 23. And boom, Asia Cup happens. Pakistan momentum cracks. And all that was wrong with Pakistan cricket comes bubbling up. Same thing here. Virat Kohli was having a long stretch of not scoring runs and not actually performing to the highest ability that he was at. Everybody has a lull.
Averaging 33.45 the last 35 test matches.
Insane record, right? Insane record. He comes out, Bumrah gives him the chance, and he actually scored at a very high rate. I think it was 143 deliveries.
I think it's because India lost 5 wickets. And so he had no choice but to keep attacking. And some of the shots he played was not typical of what Virat plays. He played the reverse sweep. I've never seen him play the reverse sweep.
I've never seen Virat play the reverse sweep. And that's what's telling me that he is here for the long haul. At the age of 35, he is still reinventing his game. He's putting in shots that he never plays in before. And he's playing them against the best bowling lineup in the world. Nathan Lyon has over 500 test wickets. He's one of the greatest Australian spin bowlers of all time. And he goes out there and reverse sweeps him. So it's nice to see him reinventing his game. And it's nice to see him putting some vigor back into his loins, I should say, and making sure that he goes out there and has fun. Not only that, but makes India win the game.
I think it's also a mindset shift. It's a team mindset. So he wanted to score runs quickly for the team. And if his century was part of that plan, well, so be it.
Yep. And I think that's the sort of selfless cricket that he's now playing because of the respect that he gets from the youngins in the team. Like 21-year-old Jaiswal is looking up at 35-year-old Virat Kohli when he's making his 100. That's a record moment for him and will be for a very long time. He will never forget that century, his first century in Australia with VK on the running end. That's just a moment that will go down in history. It's same way that VK lifted touching on his shoulders and made sure that he was parading himself around the ground when they won in 2011. It's the passing of the baton, man, and it's beautiful to see. As a Pakistan cricket fan and a neutral fan in this series, and as I step back, I want this sort of camaraderie to come over to the Pakistan side. I want Babar Azam to look at Saim Ayub and be like, you're going to be the one who's going to fill in my shoes. And I just hope that camaraderie does translate over. I don't know if it will. I mean, obviously, these are two very different cricketing cultures, but it is one that I envy, and I hope that we can see all around.
I don't think you're neutral. I think you're supporting Usman Khwaja because he was on your podcast.
Bro, I texted Usman Khwaja 2 days before, or a day before the test match started, and I wished him good luck.
Well, now you know why he did not score, and also why he dropped a catch.
I just wished him, and then he caught a really good one right after that. Just by the way,
stop texting cricketers.
Man, I mean, I think the Indian fans want me to keep texting Khwaja.
Please send Virat's number.
Yes, please do.
If you're an Australian fan, you will text him, then you will stop scoring.
No, I wished him good luck. I mean, anybody would have done that. It's not my fault that Usman Khwaja got out Jaffa both times.
Virat's record in Australia: 14 test matches, 27 innings, 1,457 runs, 56 average, 7 centuries, 4 50s, just the 2 ducks. Phenomenal record. He has his second most test hundreds in Australia after India, because obviously he's played a lot of test matches here, but I think he just loves the true bounce. He loves to hook the ball. He's a great cutter of the ball. And we saw some vintage Virat Kohli drives. The on drive he hit, the cover drives he hit. It seemed like he's back in business.
Not only that, I think Virat Kohli loves a challenge, and Australia is the ultimate challenge for batters. And he wants to take the challenge and spin it around and give it back to the opponents. And no other team really, lights him up the way that Australia does. I think that's why the 2023 final hurt him so much. He really wanted that win, especially against Australia at home. But he's coming out, he's making a statement at this age, at this time. He keeps scoring centuries. there is nobody like him. And once he leaves the game, there will be a void that will take, I don't know who to fill. Because not only, in my opinion, not only did Virat Kohli come and fill Sachin Tendulkar's void, he elevated it. And I don't see anybody else doing that for a long time for the game of cricket.
Stat alert. Australia has never won a series at home since 1970 after losing the first test match.
Wow.
Australia has lost the first test match here. So I'm not sure how they plan to come back. There's a big chance of Australia pressing the panic button. A lot of question marks on Marnus's form, on
Pat
Swan
Cummins.
Khwaja being old, apparently.
Yep.
The fast bowling trio being old.
Yeah.
And when you don't perform, you don't win. A lot of these question marks do get raised.
There has been mounting pressure on the Australian team since half of the team sat out the third ODI. And, half the team was at, the Coldplay concert, like Pat Cummins. And people thought that was just a very unserious attitude, and that,
Bro, you got to watch Coldplay.
I get it. I would have.
You can't train all the time.
I'm just saying, like, it's the third ODI. It's the defining ODI. Pakistan win an ODI series in over 20 years because of that one miss. I'm not saying that Pat Cummins would have changed the game, but it would have obviously boosted up your chances. But there has been talks around the circuit of it being an unfocused Australian side, and this loss against India just dials that notch up. Who I'm worried about are the great cricketer boys. I don't know how they're doing it. Like, honestly, serves them right, because we've been covering Pakistan cricket every single month, every single week for the past 2 years, and now they finally get a taste of our medicine. So,
but it's the same thing. Whenever Australia loses against India, they get a lot of views.
their podcasts are doing numbers right now.
What's the last pod? How many views?
I'll check, but I think it had crossed 200,000.
Hundreds of thousands, I would guess.
Had already crossed 200,000, and I mean, I feel bad for them, but then I don't feel bad for them at the same time.
Someone messaged in the Discord that Pakistan lost by 10 wickets to Zimbabwe, and India won against Australia. So this pod should get numbers. Unfortunately, we are not talking about the Pakistan-Zimbabwe series as of yet. So be patient. We'll do a separate podcast reviewing that whole series.
The Great Cricketer podcast that they covered about the day for demolition has 300,000 views right now in 2 days. So they're okay. They'll be fine. The Great Cricketer boys, don't pity them too much. But, it's just nice to see them melt down every now and then. They're funny guys, but they get a lot of wins and they get a lot of moments to be happy. We, as Pakistan cricket fans, envious, low-key jealous of the amount of love they get from their team. And our team has just lost another ODI to Zimbabwe. So that's just the life and reality that I live in.
What's next? How does Australia come back? What does India do next?
I think it's a long test series. I think to write off Australia would be foolish at this point. My predictions for this test series was 3-1 or 4-1 Australia. So at this point, I've already cashed out my one win that India is going to get, and I don't think that India is going to lose three straight test matches. I think it'll be an insane turn of events if that happens. So I would love to modify that whenever I get a chance, but I do want to see the second test match before I do that. They have a little bit of a break right now because they have a President's 11 game, which is, I think, custom whenever a touring team comes. They play the President's 11 as a test match or 40
Prime Minister's 11.
Or Prime Minister 11, I should say. Yeah, thank you. So that's going on. So we have like about 10 days before another test match happens. So we'll wait on that. Maybe we'll do a preview of the second test match before. But at this point, India is at a vantage point. They're at a as a positive note. They're looking into the second test match. They only have 2 more to win to seal the series, and they feel like they're that much stronger and that much closer. But especially Rohit coming back into the team, it's just going to be elevation from there.
Sounds good, man. I'm still jet lagged.
Really?
I'm so tired and sleepy right now.
You did good.
Let's just wrap this up, man. I want to go sleep.
You pulled up. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. All those guys who think that we are biased against India.
You know what it is? They're trying to shove down the anti-Indian agenda down our throat. Like, oh, you're Pakistani. You hate India. Look at the tone. Look at this. Look at that.
Yeah, they're reading into stuff like I'm like, I just said that off the whim. We're, at the end of the day, you and I just have fun on this podcast. We try to make jokes and just chill out. And people read all of that and so negatively. It's insane. You guys need to take a chill pill.
It's like when you have a preconceived notion, you're looking out there for evidence to support that.
Yeah.
For instance, if you think that the Earth is flat, then you'll look for any evidence that supports the fact that the Earth is flat.
So you're saying flat earthers and anti-Pakistani or pro-Indian super duper fans are the same?
Hey, I'm just giving an analogy.
Look, if you're anti-backward point, then what are you even doing? At this point, just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button,
Bell icon,
and just let us know if you guys are anti-backward point, because that would really hurt my feelings. Some of the comments did hurt my feelings, but I try to make it a point not to respond to most of them.
I don't even read the comments anymore.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've read the comments, but every now and then there's some really nice ones. I try to engage to those, but then there's one of those Desh Bhakts who are like, "You Pakis,
Jai Hind."
Yeah, Jai Hind, you suck." I'm like, okay, I mean, you guys are great, but whatever. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to check out the newsletter. Don't forget to check out the Patreon, the Discord, and Yashi Sports, all in the description below. Bashar is back now, so you guys don't have to endure the solo pods. And we'll be back with more cricket news. Pakistan Zimbabwe ODI series wrapping up tonight, so that's going to be fun to cover. Some guests also lined up for the next few weeks. Hopefully that comes in. And merch is on the way. That's all I'm going to say on that. Working really hard on that, on the designs, on fabrics. And we want to do this the only time, and we want to do it right. So
backwardpoint.com/shop.
There we go. Check it out there.
Coming soon.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will speak to you guys in the next episode.
See you.